Use 2 bones. Bracing yourself. Put all your weight on this, then using your stomach muscles, kind of lift that leg up. Shift. Shift the weight. And that's how we did it. If you know how hard that would be, how exhausting, and work a few steps. Then where you can walk 20 or 30 steps. So we did it with a cane, and then the son was standing there. Brace on the son and the cane. And so someone had to hold his weight. Wasn't a big guy, especially with a heavy brace. And they both then would act like it's no big deal. They worked on smiling while they're doing it and not trying to go, "Whoa!" And they would like carry on conversations so they wouldn't show like they were like huffing because it was taking so much energy. It worked. He beat polio. Reporters wouldn't show when he was being taken to, like when you get to the car, and they'd have to pick him up and put him in the driver's seat. Yes, he drove. How do you drive? I don't know if you've ever seen these. I've driven one. It's really hard. The throttle and the brake are on.
What?
Yeah. So there's a hand throttle and a hand brake. Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do. You're driving at the throttle, brake. So he could drive. They never showed him in his wheelchair, because most of the time he had to be in his wheelchair. They never showed that. Or when you would show him, he would have a blanket or a shawl over him, so you couldn't see the wheels. Because there was a lot of prejudice against him. A lot of people were saying he was half a man, which is stupid. But that was the prejudice in someone who could walk. And yeah, I can't lie to you. I admire him for this. I find it hard not to admire Franklin Roosevelt, even though wealthy people would call him a traitor to his class. So let's watch just a little bit of this walk, because there's almost no film of this. You know, there's a few shots of him. There's a few shots of him walking where you only see the waist up, but you can't see his legs. Here's 4 seconds where you can see his legs.
Show this, but it worked.
Right here.
Throughout his long struggle with polio, Franklin remained determined to return to politics. Only 4 seconds of film he would have to convince voters that he was not Franklin so tirelessly practiced. Year after year of arduous exercise had not improved his wasted leg muscles.
He wanted to be president. The goal really was unthinkable. Those steps to get a person in a wheelchair from a car.
All right, let's not worry about the sound. Let's just watch. So, doesn't it look like he's actually kind of picking up his legs? Doesn't it give the illusion? That's really remarkable. Then the hand with the cigar pops up. And then when they slow it down, it really does look like that leg is like he's picking up his knee a little bit. Now he's not.
How do his legs hold him up if they don't have muscles?
Well, once he has braces on. So when he will kind of rock his hips back, and that will lock him. If he moves his hip forward, they would let the knees bend a little bit so he could do that. And it was all done by stomach muscles. Now, near the, it was exhausting. You can imagine this. So by 1944, he was having trouble doing this. Then they usually have him sit. But just enough to show. And yeah, he didn't beat polio. I guess I'm gonna leave this on. He didn't beat it per se. I mean, it still happened, but what an amazing effort. What determination. He beat polio. And then when he went there, he actually did something unprecedented. He went to the convention in Chicago. No candidate had ever gone to give an accepting nominating speech. He was the first one to do it. And this cartoon shows it really well. I don't want comments. He flew. And I think flying, not a big deal. And I'll explain it. It actually was a Ford trimotor. He flew. Ford used to make planes then, and had 3 engines. But they took the train. Flying. He could sell himself as different. I'm not old-fashioned. Isn't that great marketing? I mean, it's subtle, but I'm something different. And change. Something changed. That is a great slogan, isn't it? Whether you're selling a car or a politician. Think of today. Obama used it quite effectively. Trump used it quite effectively. I'm going to do something different, change. Now, what are you going to change? Well, you could argue about that, but just the idea of change does make a big difference. And he wasn't the only politician who did that. High-tech, new, different. Already mentioned them once before. Hitler over Germany was his slogan as he would fly across Germany doing rallies when he was running for the Constitution, what they called the President of Germany, a couple times. So, during his speech, he would say, I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people. To a new deal. A new deal. And that became his slogan, the New Deal. It was, he did throw the New Deal out because his cousin, remember his cousin had the square deal? It was, you know, but it really wasn't the plan. But once he did, it's like perfect. And then this cartoon became national. This was a cartoon that really hit. Yeah. Okay, it's hard to see because it kind of got pixelated, but what it says is the forgotten man. And what he did is he promised to do something about all those unemployed, all those people who still have jobs that were afraid, all the ones that Hoover and the Republicans seem to forget, Roosevelt and the Democrats will do something about. They'll give him a new deal. What is the new deal? Oh, he was vague about that. But he didn't really need to be. Hoover's in big trouble. He did something very smart. Hoover's horrible. Hoover did bad things. I'm telling you what Roosevelt would say. Hoover destroyed the economy. Republicans destroyed the economy. But that's not enough. Then you have to give an option. I will pledge you a new deal. I will get direct action. I will solve the problem. And I will get people back to work. How? Okay, we'll talk about that later. But, you know, kind of laid it down. It's really important to not just say the other person's horrible. You got to say, and I will do this. Hillary Clinton would find that out and lose. Yeah.
Where did he give the speech at?
It was in Chicago.
What was it for?
Democratic convention. So, Roosevelt would win an unprecedented victory. A landslide that's hard to even put into terms how big of a victory. Landslide. We haven't had one of those. We hadn't had one of those since, the biggest one since James Monroe back in 1820. None of that when the Democrats came in. But this was an anti-Republican vote again. Let's be clear about it. The Democrats have got to do something. 36 would actually be a bigger vote for the Democrats, meaning that the people like the Democratic programs. That's why the Democrats for years would talk about Franklin Roosevelt and play his theme song, Happy Days Are Here Again. Clever thing. We'll hear it in a second. So, Roosevelt would win. But that's the first week of November. When, this is the last one, when were presidents inaugurated back then? March 3rd. 5 months with lame duck. Lame duck. Hubert Heaver still president. Remember Lincoln was elected 5 months before the last 5 months, and then before his inauguration, the Confederacy was formed, and the country was at civil war. Fort Sumter was being isolated while Lincoln sitting in Springfield, Illinois. It's Roosevelt's election here. That's why the next year they would change the Constitution and move the inauguration to January 20th. In those 5 months, the country fell apart. Those were those 5 months of the Depression. It was a bad winter. Food shortages everywhere. Civil government broke down all across the country, including a few places in Montana. But not only that, the biggie, the entire financial system crashed. It was already really bad shape. 4,000 banks shut their doors in 5 months. It was a bank panic that shocked the world. In fact, Hoover in February would try to get Roosevelt to come up, to agree. Like Hoover wanted Roosevelt's support to come up with some kind of banking measure, and Roosevelt refused. I'm not president yet. Lincoln would do a very similar thing back before he became president. I'm not president. I don't have that power. And if it doesn't go well, I don't want to get blamed. They come in already kind of hint or hobbled. So, and then there was an assassination attempt on Roosevelt. Whew. If that would have happened, People were talking about the country was staring into the abyss when Roosevelt was inaugurated. And that's what it felt like. I mean, if he was assassinated, I don't even want to think about it. John Nash Garner would have been our president. Yeah, I know.
How would you think it would turn out?
Huh?
If they get assassinated? Like, what do you think it would be different?
I can't imagine the country surviving the way it is. I really can't. It was that bad. And people kind of forget how bad it was. It was terrifying. And on that happy note, we should watch a cartoon. People were watching this inauguration. You saw a similar thing in 2009 when Obama was inaugurated. By far the biggest crowd ever. A lot of people didn't go 33. But 2009, the biggest crowd by far ever in history. Up to this day, for inaugurations was Obama 2009 because of the bad economy. There are a few other reasons too, but that was the biggie. So, let's watch a cartoon.
By 1933, reminders of the Great Depression were everywhere. For more than 3 years, it had devastated the American economy. But with the inauguration of President Franklin Roosevelt, even cartoons began to reflect a new optimism. The challenge for Roosevelt's New Deal would be putting America back to work. And nowhere would that challenge be greater than in the city of New York, with its more than 1 million unemployed.
Did you like the cartoon? Was that good? Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, it's going to mention Fiorello LaGuardia. He is the mayor of New York City, but we're not, because it goes over the New Deal in New York City, but we'll get to Roosevelt. But I thought some of these pictures were pretty.
But in March of 1933, the homeless and the poor lost an advocate in Congress. Defeated in the Democratic landslide, LaGuardia returned to a New York where victims of the Depression camped in cardboard shanties. LaGuardia swore he would give up politics, but few believed he would stay on the sidelines if Roosevelt's New Deal could help the city of New York.
History turns a page. President and Mrs. Hoover, leaving the White House after 4 trying years, greet Mrs. Roosevelt on the portico. The President-elect awaits them in the car in which he and Mr. Hoover will ride to the Capitol together. Retiring.
So Roosevelt's son sitting in front of him. Hoover contemplated not going to the inauguration. Like John Quincy Adams and John Adams. He was so mad at Roosevelt, thought Roosevelt was going to destroy the country. But they convinced him, you have to go. But he's fearless. Now, Roosevelt was a really charming man. He had this great ability to convince people that, he liked them, he listened to them. The old story was when Roosevelt was president, somebody would come in to talk to him about an issue, would try to convince him to take a certain position, and they'd walk out after a 20-minute talk with Roosevelt thinking 2 things. Number 1, Roosevelt agrees with me 100%. Number 2, I have a new best friend, and his name is Franklin Roosevelt. The next person would come in, totally opposite point of view on the same issue, and they would walk out thinking 2 things. He agrees with me, and I have a new best friend. Now, this would drive people nuts too, New Roosevelt, because he was always kind of manipulating, and a little bit like Lincoln had the same kind of manipulating thing, and he would be mendaces and all that kind of stuff. But Hoover is mad. Roosevelt thought I would charm him, like I always do. You start talking, you see a little bit here, and Roosevelt's son recorded what happened next, because Hoover is going to just look straight ahead. The car started moving, looking straight ahead. Finally, Hoover turned, and this is all Hoover did, just turned and went, "Ah!" And that's what Hoover did.
President and the new, the man who bore the burden and the man who now assumes them. An historical moment in the life of the nation is approaching.
I shall ask the Congress for the one remaining instrument
to meet the crisis. Broad executive power to wage a war against the emergency, as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe.
So he's going to treat the Depression just like it's an invasion. So it's not going to be sit back and hope confidence reemerges. He's going to act, and that's what people wanted. Yesterday, in that job report, you heard a little bit of Hoover speaking. Remember that? Compare him to Roosevelt. Roosevelt, that dynamic voice. And Roosevelt had this gift. He had a patrician, like fatherly voice. But at the same time, it didn't sound like he was talking down to people. What a gift. We are all in this together. I'm not dictating to you. I respect you. It's really a remarkable gift. And most people say, yeah, he was like that. And if he wasn't, wow, that's kind of a scary gift for somebody to have. Now, I'm going to read you a couple other bits from this. It's part you've heard, but now think about this for a second. He's giving this speech. People are listening on the radio all over the country. They're worried. They're scared. The financial system and the society's breaking down. I mean, this is a scary moment. So there's a line that everyone heard. But think about, I'm going to add a little bit more, but think about how people are feeling. So, fourth sentence. This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. So all of you probably heard that, nothing to fear but fear itself. It's like, okay, that sounds great. I won't fear fear. But put it in context. Society is breaking down. People are terrified. But a lot of what people are terrified is their fear of what the worst possible thing that could happen. We can't be like that. Move forward, and we will do it together. And then a little bit later on, he adds one more thing, which I think is brilliant, because people are mad. And they blame a lot of what these policies in the past were. He says, the money changers have fled from their high seats in the temple of our civilization. We may now restore that temple to the ancient truths. The measure of this restoration lies in the extent in which we apply social values more noble than mere monetary profit. Who are the money changers? By the way, it's a biblical reference, clever. Money changers, who are they?
They like the elites.
Not all the elite.
I think the tax collectors.
Not, okay, in the Bible it was actually the tax collectors, but the tax collectors represented somebody.
Are they talking about the Republicans?
Well, he is referring to Republicans for supporting him. Yeah.
Capitalists?
Not all capitalists, but you're on the right track. The bankers, the speculators. That's who's doing it. That's who they are. And what caused the Depression? It's actually really clever the way he does it. He doesn't come out and say, I'm going to tell you the way it is, you have to believe me. He lets you think about it. In fact, he treats people like they have a clue. More important than mere monetary profit. Meaning, what caused the Depression? Not so much, but you're on the right track.
Speculating.
You speculate, trickle, but why do people speculate? Right? Don't even think about in terms of policy now, just pure base emotion. Greed. Greed did it. And we will set the stage and not do it again. These people's greed. And we'll come back. Clever. Now, of course, yeah, everyone's got a little bit of greed. That's the way it is. But he's saying we will do something, there's something more important than just greed. It's a clever bit. It's a great speech. The whole thing is online. I have it on my webpage too. I like it. If you go to the Roosevelt Library, he has it, parts of it crossed out, something really cool. Yeah. You watch that Road to Rock Bottom.
It's like 4 parts, right? I'm watching the right thing.
Yeah, it does, but it should go right into each part.
Yeah, I watched it.
And it's, in fact, I got it. There's a worksheet you can print right above it, and you print it out, and that's it. It's really, I really like that.
Let me know. Yeah. Okay, so
It's sad too, but it's good. Now we get to watch the destruction of the economy today. It never ends in here, don't forget it. Jordan's sick.
Yeah.
I know, and I didn't even think about doing the Great Depression and the 2008 crash at the same time. It's weird. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm gonna, yeah, new projector.
What? They got
And the Tiger's back. You know, me yelling at the plane, literally.
You said you bet that you wouldn't have it.
But you know, I think what it was is, I got mad. And I gotta put it back up. I did kind of a slight act, but I did the act like I was really mad. And they didn't want me to be mad at me.
That's
Hmm?
That's too bad.
That's too bad that they didn't want me to be mad anymore. You want me to stay mad?
Yes.
Yes.
Because then you don't yell at us, you yell at them.
You don't want me to.
It's you.
I don't yell at you.
The pickle.
You've never actually seen me mad. Yes. You see me no.
We're so enraged. Enraged.
No, you don't want to see that.
Part of the whole group.
That's
part. Now presented and raped Mr. Parker.
I'm not a circus act. I just can't turn it on. You see me annoyed, but never mad. You haven't seen me mad.
That's probably that's good. You don't ever need to see your teeth.
You don't need to see that. You don't want to see anybody so mad that they break doors and things like that.
Yeah.
Punch through a wall. You don't want to see that.
It makes me uncomfortable.
People get mad. You shouldn't be mad. Control your temper.
I would be very scared.
No, finish.
And if it's like hard.
I know, and there's a few that are wrong. Hey, they were waiting for you.
Cards.
Look at my wrist. I know, because you're late. Hey, Rick's here. That's why I did your whole evaluation. I did it, Rick. Okay.
Alright, so
Am I not supposed to be here?
so we've got a button here.
Put it on. Put it on. I have no idea what I'm I don't wear buttons.
Real men.
Actually, I do have one button on one something. You have to see me when I'm wearing that coat, and you see the button I wear. Actually, I have two. A new deal and end prohibition. America needs a drink. Might be my favorite campaign slogan ever. Roosevelt, part of his folks, New Deal was in prohibition. You start the brewery business to get people back to work. And so it turned into America needs a drink, which I think is fun.
I think in today's world,
We're two thirds.
Probably don't want to be talking about that in high school.
why did I be
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, no.
Those politicians, I can't. They need to show up.
I think lawmakers on the last day of the site just get told.
Okay, let's take out the worksheet for the video. We have a little bit left.
Sure.
By the way, did everybody enjoy? Did everyone enjoy it yesterday and all the fun about just people just trying to make an honest living?
What? It's kind of, I just drank a little more. It's kind of.
Working hard.
Let's keep watching.
Like, so if we just completely like outlawed investment banks, would that be really bad for the economy?
You know, it might be, but here's the deal. Remember, they repealed Glass-Steagall and allowed investment banks and commercial banks to unify.
Yeah.
We already had that in the video, but yeah.
Doesn't remind me.
That was the Graham,
Whatever.
the Graham Leach Lively Lab.
Well,
And that got rid of Glass-Steagall, and all of a sudden you had these massive banks. And what's the insurance? Not all of Glass-Steagall was repealed. Glass-Steagall also added insurance on deposits. to make sure that if the bank went under, people wouldn't lose their deposits to avoid the run on the banks. That's insurance on deposits. FDIC. That's still there. But now you have commercial banks protected by FDIC gambling in the stock market. Who's now essentially underwriting their speculation. They call it.
So what if we did just get rid of investment banks? Would that be a bad thing?
Well, potentially they could, without investment banks, that would get rid of the corporate structure, the corporations. It's really hard to have. Think about complex business and about getting with a lot of capital. It'd be hard for individuals to get big, so it's hard to get corporations out there. But you can put more controls on them.
You need investments companies for new ideas.
Well, and then if it's not your money and it's vested money, it makes it easier to take risks. If it's all your money, you're like, I don't know if I want to, do that. Of course, then again, if it's corporation, then can't you just do crazy things like, Dylan, thank you.
You're welcome.
You can do crazy things like, yeah.
Get a pass.
You said. You have to bring that desk in.
Oh, yeah.
What's the date today?
The 84th.
Hey, next week's St. Patrick's Day.
Is that the 14th? Tuesday?
No, it's Sunday.
I have great respect for Irish independence, so you guys better wear green.
That's Irish independence.
St. Patrick's Day, it's the only reason that's a holiday is to celebrate Irish independence and Irish nationalism.
Now
If you were red or orange
And
in
now
my
we
class
just-
on Friday, I would be very upset.
And now we just celebrate.
You hear that, Elijah? I see that of orange.
And now we celebrate by ditching each other.
Yeah, now that and then.
I'll wear my green sweater.
Oh,
Irish independence.
yeah. Thank you, man.
Sure, I'm ready.
Huh?
I'm ready.
Corbin, I'd like to say you make that book work. I really would like to say that, but then I'd be lying. Sad. All right, so let's get back to inside job.